Hello, and good morning. How's everybody doing today? I'm Go Veer, Go Home, and this is the Sunday Brunch Kit Builds. We'll be getting started real soon here. We're just going to give it a minute or two so that people can pop in. As people are popping in, people are going to be saying hello. And yeah, so we're going to do a bit of work here today. It seems like the past few Sundays I've been doing some weathering. It's because I've got a lot to do. I've got a lot of rolling stock to get through. And not that I want to do every single piece, but I do want to kind of touch on each one. And I mean, especially with the ore cars, half looking forward to that. I mean, I've got about, well, more than 18. So it's a lot of cars to weather. I've been working through my gondolas, which I have almost as many. This is another one that hasn't been started yet, but last several weeks I did a total of 2, 4, 6, at least six of the ONR 52-foot mill gondolas. So, and who knows, I might end up getting more. I've got another 2 that are on deck and 3 more that needs to be primed because you have to put a clear coat on it before you do your weathering and whatnot. And then I've got another 2 CN ones that haven't even been touched yet. So we'll get to those eventually. But I've got a bunch of cars here besides that gondola that I just showed you. I've got some cars that I've either started or I did some weathering or some graffiti, but I need to finish it. So I want to kind of chip away at some of these today, just kind of finalize them and do the clear coat and then, move on. Because I hate leaving things half finished, It's no good. It's no good. But eventually I'm going to get into doing some buildings, possibly, and doing a few other really neat things with the weathering. So we've already got some people in the chat. We've got Steve 87th and Angela Crawford, Richard Martin, Inked Rails. That's Brian. How's it going, everybody? Hopefully everybody's having a great Sunday so far. It's nice out, but it's nice in here too. The air conditioning in the basement is at its prime right now. So in typical fashion for our brunch build here, I do put the link to the actual live in the chat there. If anybody wants to jump on, share some of their modeling tips and whatnot, keep it about the trains, and you're more than welcome to pop up here and chat. And we got Perry. Hey, Perry, how's it going? And useful features you will love. No thanks, Windows. And Almar, how's it going? All right. So before we get started, just a couple of things to cover. Next Sunday. No, I'm going to start closest and work my way up. So this Wednesday, I'll be doing a running trains live here on the channel. I haven't done one in a few weeks. I guess it's summer, so I get busy, right? But I'll do a live train run this Wednesday. I know I do have to run my track cleaner around because next Sunday, there's a whole bunch of us that are getting together and we're going up to Smiths Falls to do some rail fanning. And a couple of the guys are coming back here and they want to see the layout. They want to run some trains. So I want to make sure that everything is tidy and everything is running somewhat smoothly for that. And yeah, just kind of clean up a bit, If you let it get away from you and you don't keep a handle on things, then it turns into a real mess sometimes. But I'll it shouldn't take too much. I've got some odds and ends here and there, and we'll clean it up and we'll run the train around the CMX. I got a CMX cleaning car. It's right back here, and I put the little pads on the bottom, and I fill the cleaning car with some rubbing alcohol, and it goes around and it cleans the surface of the rail just for clean contact. So we'll look to do that this Wednesday. Now, Thursday we normally do keeping track. Nope, no we don't. That's at the end of the month. Thursdays we do Third Rail Thursday. And because September 1st is a Thursday, there's actually 5 Thursdays next month, which is normally there's 4. But we've got Dave Co. And Dave Co. was one of the original GVO crew guys that would do a like live train running and whatnot once a month, just like the rest of us. But in February, he had a baby. So he was kind of taking a long hiatus. So this is going to be technically his first live since then. He's going to slowly ease back into it, and you'll see him pop up here and there. But if you don't already subscribe to Daveco, DAVECO, go check him out. Go subscribe, hit the bell notification button, and then that way you'll know when he goes live. He's got a great layout. It's small, it's compact, but it works. And the way he designed it, a lot of people, he took a lot of grief for 15-inch radius, up a 4%, I think, or 3.5%, something like that, or 3%. I can't remember. But they said it can't be done, and he runs it flawlessly. So go check out his layout. It's really nice, and he's been doing a lot of work on it too. I follow him on the gram, and of course, when you're friends, you always send pictures and whatnot to your friends, right? So yeah, he's going to be up this Thursday night. So like I said, next Sunday, I'm going to be rail fanning. So watch for a live. There's going to be a bunch of us guys from YouTube that are going to be out in Smiths Falls. Probably going to do a bit of a barbecue, trackside barbecue, and watch for some trains. And it'll be good to get some clips as well of the CP and VIA that run through there. So that'd be neat. The following Saturday, I'll be out at Otter Valley Railroad out in Tilsonburg. Me and Bubs 031. We're gonna take the drive down because Otter Valley is having a manufacturer open house kind of pop-up event. And there's going to be Intermountain. Intermountain's going to be there. Rapido, already, like, even if that was just it, I'd still go. And then we've got Sylvan Scale Models, Mini Prints. Bernard is going to be there from Mini Prints, and then we've got Aurora Miniatures. Ben from Aurora Miniatures is going to be there. There's going to be several announcements that are done that day of new product. So if you don't get a chance to make it out there, just keep an eye on the channel. I'm sure I'll do a live, or I'll post a video, something, some sort of information to let you know what's going on in the hobby. That's what we do here. Brian, I hope you can make it out on the 10th. That's September 10th. Come hang out for the day, and we'll all be there. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So, but that's all we got so far for you for this month, right? So it's a busy month, but we're off to a good start with it. So I'm going to get started on this, and you guys can kind of watch. I'm just going to readjust my camera because no one wants to stare at me while I'm doing this. Ooh, and I totally think it's going to fall. I don't know. I'm going to tilt that a bit. All right. There we go. So you got this. This is just an Atlas boxcar. 50-foot plug door boxcar. There's more of these on the way, more numbers and whatnot if you're a fan of the plug door. It's one of my favorite boxcars. So, and of course you're gonna get some more ONR numbers. I got rid of a bunch of mine because I had like 50, but I'm gonna do it where it's like mixed into other as opposed to specifically ONR, all ONR. It's just the route that I'm taking here. It's nothing crazy or anything, but for those, if I missed anybody in the chat there, I'm really sorry. Welcome. Okay, so now I did I did a little bit of a graffiti here and a couple other little things. I mildly weathered it, but the mistake that I made when I did this, and this is one of the earlier cars that I did. First off, the colors that I used weren't the best, so I'd gone over that. Now it's a little bit brighter. When I did my weathering, I did the weathering. The weathering looked great. The problem was the clear coat that I put over top. And this is a mistake that I made with a couple, because I was spraying it like this, which destroyed and basically cleared off all the weathering that I did. Where you're supposed to go back like a good, if that's the car, come back to about here and go. So it's more like a misting on it. You don't want to cover it. You want to mist it so that it hits it and it holds it. So that was a mistake that I had made, but I'm learning from my mistakes, and hopefully, we do a little bit better now that we know what we're doing. But things do happen, right? So just want to make sure that this is loose, because some of this was like really packed down. Okay, there we go. And we've got the plumber. How's it going, plumber? Okay, so we're going to start with some medium earth. For those of you who don't know, I'm using Monroe Models weathering powder. I got an 8-pack here from Otter Valley Railroad, OVRtrains.com, and it was like $50 Canadian. So not bad at all. And it works. I like it much better than my older method of weathering. So now I'm probably going to get back to building kits soon. I just don't have any right now. But when I go out to Otter Valley, I'm probably going to pick up a kit or two. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Because even though it is the brunch kit build, I do a number of different things. So I'll build a kit. I'll work on the layout. I've been doing some graffiti and whatnot here for the last couple of weeks. Weathering. Do a little bit of everything, switch it up every so often. It's just I've been on a real big weathering kick lately. I don't know what it is, but it's fun. I like doing it. So this past week, I was actually out. I drove with my family up to Manitoulin Island, and for those of you who have no idea where Manitoulin Island is, it's northern Ontario. We were right off, was it Georgian Bay or Hudson's Bay? Georgian Bay. I think it's Georgian Bay. I don't know. I'm still very backwards with it. But yeah, so we drove from Ottawa up through North Bay and all the way to Sudbury. It's like total, it was like an 8-hour drive, 8.5 hours with all the stops from the kids and, tiny bladders, And yeah, it was pretty good. I don't get out that much, and I always say I need to get out more. So I did have an opportunity to get out, which was nice. And I told my wife, I said, we're going through North Bay. I model North Bay. Part of my layout is literally North Bay, the North Bay shops. I'm like, we gotta do a drive by and whatnot. I gotta see the stuff for myself, because I've only modeled it. I've never seen it in person. And most of the drive beyond North Bay, you're driving trackside with what would potentially be or if there was any at the time, Ontario Northland stuff. But when we got there, I ended up maybe about 5 minutes from the actual North Bay shops. But I was over at the Ottawa Valley Railway, I guess the main office building, which is, literally 5 minutes down the road from it. And there was a whole bunch of these cars that were parked trackside there. So I got some photos of those. A whole bunch of Soo Line ballast cars, which was kind of neat. Because I would never think to see some Soo Line ballast hoppers there at all. And I can't remember the road name, but it was the orange and black and yellow Tennessee and Wyoming, something like that. But yeah, there's a pretty heavy presence of that out there. So I saw some of those that I think Tennessee and Wyoming, which it doesn't make sense because it's Ottawa. I don't know, or Ontario. So, anyways, I didn't see any O&R except for one of the retired F7 units from the Polar Bear Express, which really neat. But it was sitting there, unnumbered and rotting. Kind of sad if you think about it. And yeah, then just a bunch of cars that were weathered and graffitied and more or less just waiting for retirement or the scrap pile. So that was on the way there, right? I didn't want to take too much of the time because we had left at like 6 in the morning and it was brutal. I'm not a morning person. I had worked the night before, so it was not ideal for anybody who likes sleep. And yeah, so I suffered a little bit, but it was okay. I did all right. I'm not used to the long drive, that's for sure. But on the way home, it was raining, it was wet, it was cold. Luckily, one of my kids slept the entire way, so it made it a little less painful. I don't know if everybody here has kids and been on road trips with kids, but it's not always a cakewalk. But, on the way back through, we actually drove right by the Ontario Northland maintenance facility. And right beside it, there's a bridge that you drive over and you can see everything. And of course, I was driving, so my co-pilot wife, she was able to film that for me. Thank goodness, because it's not really the kind of area where you can just kind of get out and walk around and stuff. You'd have to go park somewhere. But it was cool. It was cool. I got to see a bunch of these cars, the O&R cars, because they're often trackside there. And still no O&R locos on the go or anything, but can't win them all. It was just nice because I see pictures of them, I see models of them, but to see the real thing, it's a huge difference. Huge difference. Oh, and I also drove by a paper plant. And boy, did it smell real bad. That's my story. It's not much of a story, but it's my story. I think I'm gonna have to do a separate trip just to go to North Bay. I think my wife said that we would do that at some point, or some variation of that. Stay near there, and that way I can catch some stuff. Yeah, they're not very good for the environment, but I don't know. It's just one of those things, right? Like, I know that there's a couple of guys that work in the industry and whatnot, and they're used to that stuff, right? Even James Galton, like, he used to work at a steel mill, repairing some stuff at the steel mill. So he's used to that, you know. And for someone like me, who I don't really go near them, I've never worked in the industry. So to see it in real time, and to see the things that we model and the things that we create in miniature, it gives you a whole other perspective. And even the time, like, I went rail fanning not too long ago, like I took my kids, I think it was like last month, and I saw a Union Pacific locomotive, and I thought I would never see a Union Pacific locomotive in the flesh, more or less. And yeah, it was in a mixed manifest with some CP locomotives, and I thought it was the greatest thing. I'm not a huge fan of Union Pacific. I don't really collect it or have any sort of ambition to collect it. But for the fact that I've seen it in real time in Canada, it's weird, and you know, I like seeing that stuff. I don't know, it's just the way it is. I'm sure you guys get excited too when you see things that you model in real time too. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. But I think it's neat. It's not just me. Oh, good. That makes me feel a lot better. Thank you for that. Not really. Like Almar's asking if I ever get tired of weathering. And here's the thing, because I'm nowhere near pro level or anything like that, it gives me plenty of room to learn and try new things. And, you know, it's one of those things where I don't get tired of learning new things. It might just be me, but, you know, with this here, I try to weather different cars and do different types of graffitis and whatnot. So it's not really repetitive. In some cases, it is, because I do have a lot of individual cars that are the same car, just different numbers, but they're all done differently. And each one has its own personality, you know, what it's been through, what it does for the railway and how it helps. Maybe some are a little bit older than others. Maybe some have been taken care of better or not, you know, not seen better days. So it really gives me a chance to define my cars a little bit more and give them a bit more of a personality, opposed to it being, well, here's this brand new car from, you know, Atlas or Rapido, and it looks just like all the others. So by giving each car a personality or a graffiti or a weathering job, I'm creating a story as well. Also, I don't do this every single day of the week, um, month, year. You know, I do a little bit of everything. Work on the layout. I will run trains. I'll do the weathering. I'll do graffiti. Um, yeah, and obviously just with the layout itself, you know, track work, weathering, scenery, detailing. So I don't really ever get bored. There's so much to do. If anything, sometimes I'm overwhelmed with how much there is to do. I think that dates back to my time in retail and whatnot, because I used to work, you know, retail stores and whatnot. And, you know, I was a manager of a few and whatnot. And you'd get the students come in and they'd be like, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. No, there's always something to do. You just gotta find it. And you have to have a willingness to be able to do it and to want to do it and whatnot. Of course, if you're working retail, though, it's like some people are harder to convince to do these things. But this is model railroading. It's not work. This is fun. Are you guys excited for that CP Rail announcement? Well, I should say Athern announcement with the next batch of ACUs. I was watching the live, and I could hear the wallets weeping. It's crazy. So CP368 was safe. One less one for you to worry about. I mean, for me, I like them just because they are really cool and they look really cool. I didn't get the first two, so I probably won't be getting any of the other ones. However, because the new ones do come with the roller bearing trucks, which is kind of like a kick in the pants to anybody who bought the first two because they didn't have the roller bearings. So now you've got two without roller bearing trucks, and then however many they do with the roller bearing trucks, which I'm pretty sure is going to be the rest of them. And it's kind of a kick in the pants. I'm not going to lie. And you know, can't help but feel bad for those who did spend the money on those, and now the next ones are going to be better. But you know, they should have just done the roller bearings on the first ones. Probably won't be the first person to say that either. However, if they are doing that, then I'm pretty sure they're going to do more of the like 7022 and whatnot. And if they do, then they'll probably have the roller bearing trucks or whatever, and which is fine. They can, you know, you can do that. But yeah, it's just a pain though. So it means I could potentially get the old two and the new two. But now that the prices are going up, prices are going up on a lot of things. You're going to probably see a lot of price increases and MSRP increases in the next several months, just because of the way the industry is right now and the way everything is going in the world. So kind of have to be mindful of that stuff and prepare for the worst. But hey, you've got a year to kind of save for that, I guess. Yeah, that's one thing. Like, I collected the steel mill kits and I started working on them and whatnot, but I cannot fit them on this layout. So I have them because when when I go to use them, or if I need to use them, the stores won't have them because they'll be all sold out or they won't be available anywhere. So I want to make sure I grabbed the entire set before that was the thing. And I'm glad I did, because already it's, you can't really find them anywhere. You might be able to find like the odd one, but that's it. Yeah, lumber mills are great. Lots of potential with the lumber mill. Okay, so this one is looking all right. I dirtied up the sides, dirtied up the ends, and I made the roof look a little bit more lightly. Well, there's, somewhat of a heavy rust. Oh, I'm shaking. I'm shaking. You can see it. But yeah, there we go. Corrected that one. It looks a lot better now. Again, nowhere near perfect, but for me anyways, I can do the clear coat on that, and then I can put it into service or back into service. Another one that I wanted to touch on was this one here. I'm pretty sure this is a Intermountain. These are another type of car that I have a lot of. The cylindrical hoppers. Yeah, it looks about right. The problem with these ones, the Canada ones, they're really bright. And, well, most of these are anyways. Like you'll see the the Saskatchewan greens and the Alberta blues, they are so bright, and there's not too much you can do but dirty them so that they aren't as bright and shiny and in your face. And Trackside Mike, how's it going? I know you can't really see, but I added more dirt to that because it was still very bright. And even on this side here, I made sure that there was more dirt along the bottom half here. Yeah. Also, something like this here, I mean, you can't really see it because it's all grates, but it's there we go. Does what say gang? I don't think I have that on any of my cars, but there was something that I did want to check. Got a car here somewhere. Oh, don't tell me it's gone. Oh, no, it's not gone. Okay, so I'm going to do a bit of a patch on here. And okay, so it's from service. So this is one of the cars that I took a picture of. I know it's kind of hard to see, but it's of one of these cars. So I'm going to kind of try to mimic it a little bit. And I'm going to start with a patch job because it looks like certain parts of the car are patched. Yep, still got. I'm still working through them, Mike, and it takes a bit. It takes quite a bit to actually get through all this. It's crazy. So many cars. However, the layout's going to be well decorated by the time you get here. Okay, so then this one cuts off half of the ONT, and then it literally cuts out all that information. Um, One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, see, that's the problem sometimes where, some companies say that they're doing a prototypical rail car or they charge you like $50, $60 for it. This here beside this one, both 500 series, but that's 5001. This is 5019. Doesn't look like the car at all. So thank you, Rapido. Thank you for that. I appreciate your effort with making a car not prototypical. Yeah, it's kind of a pain, but again, we're working through it because this car is going to get the old patch job. What kit are you going to be buying at OVR? That's a good looking question. I have no idea. It might be a case of when I go there, whatever catches my eye. I know that there's a lot of things that I need for the layout. I need a lot of city buildings, like downtown, so like probably like Merchants Row and whatnot, and just a few others. I think Mike and James and myself, we're all gonna pick out a kit, all the same kit basically, and we're gonna do a build off. just a, a friendly build off. And I think if anybody else wants to get in on that, I'm sure we can accommodate that. But we'll let you know what building kit it is, and if you want to go out and you want to get that building kit, then at least you can join in with us, or if anybody wants to join in with that kind of build off thing that we're doing, that'd be really neat. Okay, so I gotta leave that, but that has to go. And this blue is very close to the blue that they used, so I can kind of get away with this without needing to. There's a little graffiti there that I did. I didn't notice that. Well, that's getting patched. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I know there's a couple other channels that did something similar, but we're just kind of low key doing something like that. And we just all happen to be going to OVR the same day. We'll be there at the same place and whatnot. And we'll be able to kind of decide amongst ourselves what that kit should be. So that'll be something that we do when we're there. That'll be next week on the 10th. Okay, so that's patched out. Again, I don't know how the other side of this car looks, so once I do this, it's like I'm gonna have to really sort that out. But I'm gonna let that dry. Oh, I'll just kind of show you. So you can kind of see the little patch jobs that I did there. And like I said, this blue is very similar. You can tell it's patched, but at the same time, it's like they use like a similar paint to patch it. So it's not too far off. Yeah, the Village Pizza, like most of those buildings, and you can kind of mix them around and create your own little downtown. They're all a little different, but the same. And you can get it as a Village Pizza, but you can probably turn it into whatever, right? Like a smaller version of a Subway. You know, I've seen in some cases where people will turn the flower shop or the hobby store into like a hair salon or a tattoo parlor as well. Then you put little neon signs in the window and it looks just like the real thing. It's really neat. Right, Benny? My cat's here. She's doing her thing. Then there was this Rapido tank car. I had started weathering this, and the weathering didn't stick as much as I would want it to. So I think I have to do a bit more to it to really get it to stay where I wanted it to stay. These cars are just so shiny, and even though I use a whatchamacallit, what is it called? A matte spray. It's like that didn't even help. Hey AJ, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to add a little black to that. Seems like no matter what I do, that shine always comes through still. It's crazy. I have no idea why. Like you try so hard to get rid of the shine. Mind you, the lights, and the reflection of the lights definitely don't help. But it is what it is. Okay, I like that. Hey, Bubs, how's it going? Oh yeah. I only posted it once, but for those who want, through the link to the chat there or link to the video in the chat, just in case you want to come up and if you're working on something, if you want to share that. I often forget. I should post that throughout, but I always forget. Let's do a dark. All right. So it looks like it's a bit closer to being ready for service, which is good. And I never did these end pieces here. So I'm just going to do that now, and I'm going to dirty them up here. Got to be very careful as well with stuff like this, especially tank cars. Everything is breakable, so it's like, yeah, you got to be so careful. You should be careful with every car, but especially tank cars. Bubs, if you're trackside and something passes you there, feel free to jump up there, eh? That was my cat. I don't know if you heard her, but she says hello. And with tank cars, you can kind of do the undersides, and it would be noticeable because of the round body there, right? Like you can only see so far, but you can still see quite a bit. So these are like probably the only cars that I would do a lot of the underside. And I'll just do this end here. There. Okay. So seems a lot better than what I had before. I don't know what that line is there, but that really bothers me. Okay. All good. So there you go. Again, can't really see all the logistics of it there like I can because the camera in this angle is not great. seems to be the theme of this thing every Sunday. So I just need to do the trucks. That should be good. And of course, I'll come back and I'll do all the wheels later. I just want to make sure that the bodies of these things get done first, and then I'll come back and I'll do all that later. Okay, there. That was it for that. Okay, I'm really happy with this one. That means that the other tank cars that I have, if they turn out looking like that, I will not be mad. All right, so those are on the track. Let's check in with this one here to see if this is dry yet. And yeah, it dries fairly quick. I haven't touched it or anything, so she's good. So some of the next thing I have to do here, I'm going to use the chalky white on this because I have to lighten a lot of this up. And Anthony Dodge and the Model Train Outsider. How's it going, Anthony? Thanks for joining us today. All right, so there's a few of these where I have to do this. The issue is the lettering. Now, I'll know it's an Ontario Northland, but if you look at the car, if you look at the actual car, the only reporting mark that you see that is any kind of hint to what it is the ONT. That's it. Other than that, you would never know unless you just are really good. because you can kind of see the chevrons, you can kind of see the Ontario Northland wording. At the same time, you can't. So all that dirt and rust. Now, because I'm really lightening these up here, it's going to give it a different look. Because some of it is the dark blue, some of it is the light blue. And hopefully this turns out really well. Well, I always hope my work turns out really well, but I hope this turns out really well, if that means anything. Probably not. Yeah, you can kind of see it. I don't know if I'm willing to destroy it to the point where it no longer has its original shape. I mean, these ones still look like they're, pretty intact for the most part. But yeah, the lettering and whatnot. This one doesn't even really have graffiti on it, which, I mean, not like it makes it better, but it makes it a little bit easier as it's just weathering, and I don't have to spend so much more time trying to draw on here as well, Okay. Yeah, I guess. Looks okay. So the areas beside the patches, so the non-patched areas are okay, but I need to do a light rusting. I'll start with, I wish I had Q-tips. I might have to use a paintbrush for this. Possibly that one. Possibly that one. Okay. Starting with a dark rust as your base and then adding highlights with a light rust, I find works really well. Use a different brush for this. Hey Union Pacific, how's it going? And Curly Express, how's it going? We are just doing a little bit of weathering here. When I say a little bit, I mean a fair amount. So I started off with a couple of cars that I wasn't done them, but I had already started. So I wanted to more or less get that done and out of the way. And now that that's done and out of the way, I am working on a car here that more or less was good to go, basically. So far, this is turning out kind of the way I pictured it would happen. So I'm just right now, I'm kind of trying to blend in the dirt and mix it a little bit with the rust. I'm trying to really get rid of the chevrons altogether so they're barely noticeable. Some strong objections from competitors with extremely valid arguments about how much power it would give CP over import export across. Oh, I got Steve. Here we go.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
Yep. How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. You seemed a bit lonely there, so I thought I'd come in, and since I finally got around to doing something, I thought I'd come in and keep you a little bit company.
Oh, good. Thanks for joining. Sometimes I
So,
kind of go off and I'm just talking and I forget everybody else is watching. It happens.
yeah. So I am doing my little project of fixing up ICB containers.
Nice. Now, did you? Those look like 3D printed.
Yes, they are. So this one here, let's see if you guys can see it. This one here is a one piece by Shapeways, one of the Shapeways ones.
Oh, nice.
And then this is a one piece that Bernard did.
Oh, I've got one of those, or a couple.
Yeah.
Yep.
And to be perfectly honest, these are just kind of a cube with, the outside fencing on it and all that. Bernard's is actually, he has rounded tubes.
Yep.
And rounded inside container and all that kind of stuff. It's much, much more highly detailed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he takes a lot of pride in what he does, and he puts out some pretty solid stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing that I found is that I've seen some other ones of these on Shapeways that are two pieces.
Yep.
And I kind of wish they were. Because
two pieces as in like the casing and the plastic container are separate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because painting these little stupid things aluminum is just fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that when I had got them, and I'm like, how? Because it's basically a clear container that's in there. Not clear,
Yep.
but like a foggy, yellowy, yeah, depending on whatever's in there anyways. But yeah, compared to like the metal that's on the outside.
Yeah, so I'm just I left the inside the way it was.
Yeah.
Which makes it really easy. But yeah, now the outside I get to use this tiny little paintbrush.
That's all part of the hobby, I guess. So it's kind of working through things like that, right?
Yeah. But I'm finding if I do it under the microscope or the magnifying glass,
mm-hmm.
and if I turn it sideways and do a side, and then flip it over and do the other sides, by the time I get done, the fronts are done. So.
Oh, neat. So it dries quick then.
Yeah. But yeah, I always thought when you were talking about doing the 6 or 8 cars that you're doing,
yep.
At one time I was always thinking that, that's kind of what you need to do. You need to just have a weathering party.
Yeah.
And get a whole bunch of them out at once. And
it keeps a level of consistency, but at the same time, it allows you to say, okay, well, I did this with this one, so how can I do this one a little bit more different?
So are you just weathering it and then you're thinking maybe you'll go back and do some graffiti if you want to?
Oh no, I always do the graffiti first,
Ah, okay.
and then from there I'll either do the weathering or whatnot. But yeah, even doing like these patch jobs, like patching decals, graffiti, I always do all that stuff first, and then I'll go to town on the weathering.
So yeah, I have an experimental weathering car that I'm working on right now as well.
Oh yeah.
This is my I don't know how well this is going to come out. So this is one of the brown. Oh, let me put a little more light on here. The Burlington Northern, or which in this case it's an ATS-F
Yep.
brown, but all of my cars are modern day, so somehow I got to get it to look dirty, and I wound up doing some white powders on it,
Yeah.
which kind of dulls it out. But then, kind of like what you did, I think I sprayed the dull coat too close,
Yeah.
and it just blew all the powder away. It's like,
Yep.
okay, well, that was a nice wasted couple of hours, but so I'll have to try your little spritz method and see if that will maintain the powders on.
And that method there was actually given to me after I totally messed up. So yeah, I did. Where is okay, so here's one that I went back, I weathered, and then like you can still see like there's color on the roof and whatnot, and on the side again, like my picture quality isn't like the lighting isn't that great, but the weathering remains. And when you just do it as a misting, you still maintain all the marking and the dirt that you took the time to put on there. So it really helps just to mist it.
And that was with you. You were just using a rattle can, right?
Yeah, sometimes I use, well, I find that the testers one is really good in the sense where it's a top-notch product, but you're paying like $7 or $8 for a
Yeah.
tiny can.
Yep.
So it doesn't go a long way. So what I do is I use as my clear coat for underneath to dull it. I found this stuff at it's well, you're in the U.S., right?
Yep.
Okay, so our version of a craft store, like big box craft stores, Michaels.
Yeah, we have those.
You have Michael? Okay, I didn't know if it was like Menards or something like that, but that you guys would have. But Michaels here, yeah, they have like the clear spray, the matte finish, or the super gloss and all that. And I'll do that on the full model first, let that dry, and then when I'm sealing everything, I'll use the little can. But I pay the
Mm,
exact same amount for both.
right.
Uh, but if I'm just using a light misting, it doesn't take all that much to cover it.
Yeah, I'll have to try that because I kind of asked at an art store,
Oh yeah,
and an art store told me to use this Liquitex matte varnish,
oh
um, diluted, but through an air gun, through the brush,
yeah.
airbrush. And I'm like, then I got to get the airbrush out. I got to dilute the thing and all. So maybe I'll try your method to see, because again, we're modelers, and I know that we don't all like to do all of the nitpicky stuff. To kind of like what you're saying, it's good enough for you. It doesn't have to be, but we do look for time saving things that we don't have to.
It's true. It's yeah. Like even with like there's lots of things on my layout where I wouldn't really consider it cutting corners, but there's things that I like to do, and then there's things where it's like I will do the barest of minimums. As long as it's done and it works, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And with this here, It's done and it works for what I need to. It's the barest of minimums for me, anyways, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you can kind of see after blending it in, like before I did the patchwork. Whoops. I don't know. You can't even really see the patches, but like obviously a lot of the lettering is cut off and whatnot, and you dirty the side. I really wish I could make this. The colors here are so bright, so it's really hard to get rid of that, even after like lightening it up so much.
Yeah.
It's a pain, but and the white I find doesn't adhere like the grimy black or the earth colors. So you kind of
Yeah,
have to do a couple of
that's
layers.
kind of what I found with the pan pastels is that I seem to use a lot of the white. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. The white, I find the only time it really works really well for me is when you have like a white logo on the side and you want to make it look like it's running. That's the only time it really really works out well for me. But trying to lighten things up like this here, it doesn't play nice.
Yeah, I can't see the chat, but AJ's probably all in the chat going, "Oh, you know what? You guys just need to do this."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't even see him there. He's probably
Oh,
either busy or he left.
oh, okay.
Actually, that did kind of help. Problem is with some of this stuff, like the more you play with it, and then it's like, oh, you know what? I should have stopped like 20 minutes ago. Like, oh well. But it doesn't look terrible. But I'm like a terrible judge of my own work.
So, Chris, are these cars going right back on the layout, or are they going to go
Oh yeah.
off the layout for a little bit?
Yeah, no, they I have a whole string of them there that are sitting on the layout that I've already finished and whatnot. I even have caps for these, which are really nice. They were made from resin, I believe, a resin pour, and they add quite a bit of weight as well to the top, so you can even
Oh,
fit with even more weight. But yeah, they run really well, so got to keep those on the layout. So, are you creating a scene with those?
well, eventually, I've got, I need to have them in a couple of places. You were talking about going out and actually seeing real places and all that.
Mm-hmm.
The railroad that I'm modeling actually is a short line, but it has a whole bunch of industries on it, which
Mm-hmm.
is amazing. And one of them, they have this specialized. It's not really a fertilizer; it's sort of like a plant additive place. And the funny thing is it's the only there's only like one of two of these factories in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and they ship their product out in either these containers or in those 20-foot um, containers, the 20
Mm-hmm.
foot bulk tank containers,
Yep.
which is kind of really cool. Um, and then they also do ship them out in tank cars, and like I guess the probably around the 20,000 gallon tank cars.
Oh, nice.
So eventually, it's kind of one of those things. Eventually, I need to have these. Um, the other thing that I want these for is I want to build a striping truck, which is the truck that paints the lines on the roads.
Yep.
And there's some of them that actually use these for the paint, and they just swap these out. So
Oh, neat.
one of them will go on the one or two of these will go on that. And the good thing is I've noticed when I was looking at the trucks that even the yellow paint doesn't look yellow in these white things, so I can just put it up there. I don't have to go in and try to paint this yellow and then come back and paint all of the aluminum.
Oh, that works.
Yeah.
Less is more, right? Less work.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I'm trying to make up some municipal trucks, and the last one that I put together was this water truck. There was a Shapeways tank that comes up, and I just have to find the decal on it to say water on the side. You know those guys that run around and make all the dust stay down.
Oh yeah. Yep. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Shapeways has a lot of neat stuff.
Yeah. Some of it's a bit expensive though.
Yeah. But I mean, you're paying for time and skill, right? Like if
Yeah.
you could always go out and buy a 3D printer and learn the trade and do it all yourself, but not a lot of people will do that.
No. And that's the thing. I've got my 3D printer. I just don't have the time. I mean, I've got drafting skills and stuff. I just don't have the time to sit down there. And I would imagine it's kind of like you. I sit in front of a computer all day long. And the
Mm-hmm.
last thing I want to do when I get home is sit in front of a computer all day long.
That's so true. Yeah. Like, uh, 5 days a week, I'm in front of a computer and I'm taking calls and whatnot. And it's like, I'll get the odd person will be like, "Hey, do you watch this on TV?" And I'm like, "I don't even really watch TV. I got to be honest with you."
Yeah.
And when I'm not doing that, I'm on my phone watching YouTube because
Right.
I got to keep up with everybody and watch everybody's videos and whatnot. And if I don't do that for one day, then I get so far behind.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's nuts, but it is what it is. But yeah. And then when I was away for the last couple of days there, I was not necessarily off the grid, but I really didn't have the best internet connection. So, I wanted to kind of take that time to unplug and whatnot, spend time with the family. So it's good to do that once in a while. But now I'm playing a severe game of catch up, which is crazy. So
Yeah, I kind of have tried to stop doing catch up. I just can't do it. It's like, well, sorry, I missed all those.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's like my latest project at work is they actually want me to do videos. So I'm like, oh
oh
great, this is wonderful. So that means I'm not going to be doing them at home because because it's kind of different doing them at work because on the YouTube videos you can just freelance, doesn't
yep,
matter.
yep,
There I have to worry, what is it that they can say? Did they say the right thing? Are they?
yeah. There's a lot of red tape basically.
Yep.
And it does happen. It happens with a lot of different aspects of it. But uh, I've even been doing some side projects myself for Otter Valley. Like I've worked with them a lot in the past, and because they're starting a private label, um, car car
Yep.
system and whatnot. I've been doing a lot of, what would you call them? They're like the sheets that you make up so that people can see, like it's almost like the seller info. I don't know.
Right. Right.
It'll have the MSRP and the all the different information about the car and stuff. So I've been starting to do some of those as well. And most of the time I get Mark or M&M Rails to do some of the picture stuff for me. Like when we had worked on the business card, I had everything drawn out, but I'm not very good with the software outside of it.
Okay.
So I would send him all the info and say this needs to look like this, and this, because as far as design goes, I'm okay with designing stuff, but computer side, not as much. So
Yeah.
he would do up the copy, and I would say, can we change this to this or put that a little bit higher, stuff like that, and then it would work out. And you know, but I basically I took a 1 hour tutorial thingy of how to actually use certain programs, and now I'm doing it, you know, not full time, but like for the most part, like by myself.
Right.
So, learning these skills just to be able to do certain things and that, but yeah, and I'm on a computer again. So
Yeah.
I can't escape. So it happens, but
Yeah, that's like the only good thing because I do it now. The only good thing is that um, work has really realized that instead of using a camera, we can use our phones.
yeah.
So I'm able to just use my work iPhone.
Oh,
Um,
there.
so then I just use. I mean, I don't do much editing when I do my videos. I just use iMovie
Yep.
to do everything, and so I'm able to do the iMovie. And the cool thing is all I have to do is get all of my clips together, and then I send it to our company's production team,
Yeah.
and then they put in all of the fun stuff, the lead-in graphics and the twirlies and any words that I want to put in and stuff like that. They do all that.
Yep. I actually, for all my videos, I use the same thing because it's so much easier to film in 4K right on my iPhone. And then, yeah, if, YouTube wants to dumb it down or whatever, that's totally fine. But yeah, I'll film everything on my iPhone and edit it and then post it right from my phone. And it's so
Yeah.
I don't have to do all that transfer and whatnot to a computer and then work on it like that. I mean, if I had an iMac, no problem. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Windows computers, so
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go through all that.
I'm not a big fan of them either. You know, it's and the funny thing is I know a lot of people are like, oh, you know, Apple. It's like, yeah, but my Apple all works together. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like my phone talks to my computer, talks to my iPad, talks to, I mean, they all talk
Yep,
without having to do anything.
absolutely. Yeah, it's honestly the most convenient thing. Like my wife and I, we have one iTunes account, and we've got all of our music. Anytime like a song is downloaded, goes on to like literally every single device that we have.
Right.
So, it's just easier that way.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
sure
That's,
there's a downside somewhere. I just haven't found it yet.
yeah.
And Eminem Rail. Oh no, not Eminem. Yeah, Eminem Rails is in the chat. I didn't even see him there, and I went to say Mini Prince, but I said Eminem, and then I noticed that Eminem was there as well. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi, Mark.
Let's see.
Almost done.
Teach a guy how to fish. I don't know what that means. Well, I know what it means, but I don't know what it's in relation to. And then the plumber says, "Oh, give a man a fish and he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, and it's $45 for a license. He'll need to open fire permit at." Oh, yes, I get it, because we were talking about the editing software and stuff. That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And besides, I hate bugging people. I mean, I'm sure Mark doesn't mind because it's Mark.
Yeah.
Uh, but at the same time, it's like I hate bugging people. Hey, Mark, I know you're probably already the busiest person ever, but can you do this for me, please? And then it's like, is he doing it because he's feeling obligated, or I don't like putting that kind of pressure and whatnot on people. It's not my style. But I'm sure he wouldn't mind either way. He does that stuff for a living, so he likes it. Right, Mark? Let's see. Yeah, and Mike agrees that editing is easier on the phone. Hillsding one. I learned how to use GIMP myself. They use it all the time at my job. That's what I was using. That's what Mark had recommended, was GIMP, and he gave me somewhat of a tutorial on it. I sent him multiple text messages just saying, "Uh oh, what do I do?" And he put out the fire. So yeah, it gets crazy sometimes, because like when you're learning something new, it just like anything else, whether it's weathering or making a video or editing a photo, it's you want to take your time with it, learn all the different aspects of it, and then improve on it. So, and consult somebody you trust for the information that you require.
Yeah, I have a good computer person at work that he's not in our IT department, but I've worked with him for years, and um, there are certain things that I just call him up for.
Yeah.
It's like one of the things I'm supposed to do is I'm an analyst, so I'm supposed to be able to know how to use, you know, Excel and access and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing I've never been able to master, and I don't know why, it's just got a brain block for me, is VLOOKUP. So every time I've got to do a VLOOKUP, which is a comparison between two spreadsheets, it's like, hey, can you help me with this?
I've never heard of VLOOKUP, but I'm sure it's only because I've never really needed it. But is it a tough one to use, or?
It is for me. Let's
Yeah.
just say that. For other people, not as tough, but it for me, it's what it is. It's a macro inside of Excel, and I just don't get it.
Yeah, it happens.
And then I tell him what I want to do, and like 2 minutes, and a minute and a half later, he goes, "Put this in, put this in, put this in," and it works. It's like, okay, yep, that's what I needed. Thanks.
It's like, where was that 20 minutes ago?
I'm surprised with it being a nice day that Mark isn't out rail fanning.
Oh, he'll probably take off or so in about 5 minutes to take Lily for a walk there. This car doesn't weather well. I'm starting to realize that different brands of cars are like easier to weather than others. Like you could have two box cars by two different brands, and one is like it takes the weathering powder so much easier than the other brand, and I have no idea why.
So which car are you working on then?
So this is a Athearn ready to roll prime for grime.
That's funny that the prime for grime doesn't work.
Compared to, well, see, the Rapido one, the Rapido well car worked really well, but the Rapido tank car, you can't get rid of that shine whatsoever. There's no way to get it. And then I had Walthers, which, I mean, yellow is just a terrible color to work with in general, but it took the weathering, but it wouldn't lighten. So yeah, a little bit of A, a little bit of B, and then the Atlas ones were perfect. Like, no problem. Got rid of the shine, added the weathering powder, no problem. So I don't know. It's probably just me. It probably 100% is me, but if anybody has a thought on that or have experienced something similar, let me know, because again, that's how we learn.
I wonder if the yellow cars need the airbrush treatment. My understanding is a lot of people, when they're trying to color down the cars, right? Not just dull them out, but to kind of fade them, that they'll use a color that's one or two shades different from the actual color.
Yeah. Well, I know I've said it in the past, but it's like to do proper weathering jobs, like I don't have one on me, but you know how CN has the zebras, right? The zebra stripe. So you'll see it where instead of it being a white stripe, it's literally mostly rust. In order to make it look like that in a really good way, you have to almost strip the whole thing and then paint it, but then paint it as though it is, opposed to buying it factory and then just trying to weather it down. So yeah, it's tough, and I don't really feel like starting from scratch with some of these. I just, ready to roll. I just want it ready to roll. Especially if it's prime for grime, that means it's good to go, right?
Yeah, it should be.
Should. Let's see, who else do we have? Split Rock is here. Hey, Split Rock. I find Bachmans are awful to do the alcohol Q-tip weathering. Seems to stick to the car like flypaper. I've never tried that. There's also another technique that I had seen with, oh, what is it? It's like, yeah, I think it might be. Actually, that might be what it is. With, yeah, rubbing alcohol. Yeah, and a powder. And it almost gives like a flaking, peeling look.
Mm. Yeah, of course.
So you can see kind of, this car only had the graffiti on it, so I added weathering throughout. It already came with the patched. This is supposed to be a GT boxcar, high cube. And then there's a little patched blue, and you can kind of see the CN logo on it. I'm not sure about the full story about this car, but it looks. It caught my eye when I had seen it in store, so I couldn't not get it. And there was 3 different numbers that were released. I think Mark has one too. I think I got him one. I don't know. I can't remember. I actually want to see Mark weather a car. I'm going to get Mark over here one time, and I'm going to get him to weather a car. I think he swore that he would never do it, but
Yeah, but once he does it, he's going to be like, oh, and he's going to weather everything. Yeah, Lily will be walking by. He'll weather Lily. You know, he'll just.
That's funny. Yeah, that seems like a Mark thing. Let's see here.
So Split Rock, these are the IBC containers. They're not milk carton containers. They're the 250 gallon liquid things. There we go. Hey, one's almost done. Oh, of course. And I have to get a touch of black for the top. Of course.
Now, the one that you're working on now, is that the mini prints one?
No, no. This is the one of the shapeways.
Uh,
Let's see, where is my Sharpie pen? It's kind of like I just have to do one little dab of black, and last thing I want to do is, get a whole bunch of paint out for a dab of black.
yep. Oh, yeah. I think that's why I do like 50 cars here at a time, because it's like, if I'm going to make this mess and I'm going to, set all this up, because this is right in the middle of my train area. So if I'm going to go through all this and set it up, I'm at least going to do a number of cars and complete some stuff. So it's not a total waste of time. And when I think about it, I corrected 3 cars and I'm finishing a 4th car here. And I did quite a bit of work on this car here. So it's, I feel like I'm accomplishing stuff, and it's a good
Yeah.
feeling.
Well, I guess I will set that off. So I finally got one of them done. I only have this many more to do.
Brian is asking, how big is my shopping list for when I go down to OVR? Well, I have a list. It's not specific to when I go down to Otter Valley, because sometimes I don't know what I'm looking for until I get there, right? You have to kind of peruse, as I like to say, and see what they've got. Check my list, see if anything from my list has come in, right? Because we're always waiting on those pre-orders and stuff like that. So I try to plan it out specifically, so I'm not just going and buying a bunch of, not crap, but stuff that I don't really need as much as stuff that I do need, and that includes like supplies and whatnot as well. Like, I know I need to go get some plaster, but I won't be getting that at Otter Valley. They have another 6 numbers for the ONR gondolas, but do I need more gondolas? I mean, I'm not going to complain if I get more gondolas, but is there something else that I might need more? I know I need some buildings, but yeah, there's so much stuff that, and who knows, I might see like a box car or something that I like more, and I'll probably end up grabbing that. And I don't know.
Okay.
It's so hard to say.
2. Oh yeah, hey Chris, I was thinking when you were talking about those buildings, the 2 different types. Walters has got a couple of different types of buildings, and so I just wanted to kind of let you know. So there's these, which is the flower house one, right? This is Flowers by Terry.
Yes.
And it's kind of the smaller one. And the Paul's Pizzeria.
Nice.
Right?
Yep.
Right. So the one thing that I found out is, so these are the smaller ones. Then they have another whole set. I just got to get these down. That are a bit more detailed. So like this one is Derby's Tavern.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing that I found out is the size difference.
Oh.
So one
yeah,
is much bigger than the other one.
Yeah.
like the I've got like the derbies and the jewelry store, which is really kind of cool. But I will say the one thing that I found out about these bigger kits, you pretty much get a double set of the fascia buildings.
Really? Like the front?
Yeah, like this section here, this whole section here.
Yeah.
When I got these in the kits, I got a whole another one of these.
Oh.
So it's like if I wanted to, I could do like a mall or something like that.
Oh wow. Yeah, because you do one separate building and then you can do like a backdrop building separately.
Yeah, pretty much. I was surprised at that. So I mean, that's one of the things. I know everybody complains about the Walters kits, but that's one of the other things about the Walters kits is that when you're done with a Walters kit, there always seems to be a bunch of pieces left over.
I mean I've experienced that firsthand, and I've heard the complaints, but I don't understand why that it's a complaint. You know, you're getting your kit, as long as all the pieces are there for your kit, that's fine.
Right.
Anything extra is strictly extra.
Exactly.
So, and there's been lots of times where I'll get similar kits because you know how they have this thing where they'll package it as one kit, but then they
Yep.
can change the packaging and put the exact same thing inside.
Right.
All of a sudden, it's something else.
And
They did that with like the UPS kit and the modern warehouse kit.
right.
So when you collect all these things, you're getting all these extra pieces, and then I've got enough to do like, you know, 2 other buildings or make
Yeah.
one stupidly large building. So it's awesome. I think it's great. I don't understand why people complain about it though. It's weird.
I know. The only one that I disliked them doing that for is the grain dryer kit.
Grain dryer. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the grain dryer kit has almost enough to build a second grain dryer.
But not enough to build a
Right,
second.
because it's missing the big sides. You know, you
Uh,
could probably scratch build them, but it's like you gave me everything else. Why didn't you just make this a 2-set kit? You know?
yeah. Well then, yeah. Huh. I mean, I've had it where I was missing pieces from kits, and that's an issue, but I don't know. Like I'll get all the full wall sections,
Yeah.
and I've got I used to have just a little plastic bin of parts. I called it my bits box. And now I've got those like one of those big 3 drawer Tupperware, like it's like a drawer set under my layout,
Right.
filled with plastic bits and stuff from, you know, layout buildings and many other, you know, kits and whatnot. It's crazy. You just kind of collect them as you go, and then when I'm going to do a custom build or something, I go through it and I'm like, okay, so okay, that looks like something I could use, or I could turn that into that, and it's very handy in that respect. And usually when my friends are saying, oh, I'm building, this is something that I'm going to build for whatever, I'll say, if you need this, let me know because I've got spare walls or whatever, or you know, I'll take a look for you and see what I got, etc., because there's just so much extra stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, Mark had some grass problems.
I'll have you know I put some grass turf down and it didn't go well, hence I didn't do it on. Oh, well. Again, Mark, static grass, I swear by it. It like it covers all the things, all the errors and issues that you feel like you have, and it makes it look more realistic. I keep offering Mark my static grass applicator because I love it and I stand by that one. And he still just does the shaker stuff,
Yeah.
which is good too. Like he does a really good job of covering the area, but he says that he has issues. I haven't seen it, but I'll take his word for it. But yeah, I definitely recommend to use the static grass.
But on the other hand, do you want to give Mark that much electricity?
Well, because I've got the Static King, it gives you the option to either use a battery or you can buy the separate plug-in. And for safety's sake, I just use the battery. So I don't know if there's too much damage he can do with a 9-volt battery. But it is Mark.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm good. I'm at that 2-hour mark, so I'm just kind of cleaning up here because I did 4 cars today. Like I corrected 4 cars and completed them, which is good because that needs to be done. I don't like leaving things half done, but at some point I did. And then I had started, and I got halfway through that Ontario Northland car, which I had to do some patching on the other side, but there's the one side of it, and pretty happy with it. You know, I still obviously have to do the inside and the ends and the other side, but you don't want the machine to blow up the apartment's electricity. Static grass solved my issues. Bernard knows. Bernard knows. I want to hold a weathering crew similar to the YouTube build crew. Have everyone weather a gondola.
Yeah, that would kind of be nice. Or
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a couple of us that are doing a kit build, a build off or whatever, and we'll sort that out at Otter Valley next week, and then we can let everyone know. And if anyone wants to join us, then all you got to do is get a kit or a similar kit to it. I'm sure that we'll come up with some sort of rules and whatnot, and you can follow along or you can share your work in progress with us. And I don't know what we're doing as far as like if we're going to do it live on here or if we're going to do some sort of video for it. I don't know the logistics of it yet. I'm just the guy that is talking about it. But yeah, if anybody's interested, then stay tuned for that because we're probably going to be sharing details with that real soon. I'm gonna see if I can readjust this again because there we go.
So Mini Prince is in the chat.
Yes, yeah, Bernard's there.
Bernard made it. So Bernard will be happy. Bernard, this is one of your. Whoops, let me get myself in the camera range. I gotta look here. Here we go. I gotta get it up closer. This is one of your ICB prints, which still difficult to paint, but it is actually much better looking than the one that I got off of Shapeways, which is kind of square with a bunch of grids across it and all. The cool thing about yours, Bernard, is that I like the fact that it is pipe, that it actually looks like the pipe and all that kind of stuff, and that you put in the flat detail to put the sign on there, which looks really kind of cool. Yeah, really nice print as opposed to these. So these will probably be more of the background ones, and then this will probably go, like I said, on my painting truck or something else. I'll probably have to get a couple more of Bernard's. If he could just figure out a way to do the aluminum cap print coloring for us beforehand, these would be awesome.
He said, "Do you want to know the secret?"
Sure, go ahead. What's the secret?
Yeah, let us know unless you want to come up here and have a conversation about it. But either or, either or. I think I have to have Bernard back on here again. I love when he comes by and he shares all his secrets and his minis and whatnot. He said it's easy. So if he said it's easy, then it's not easy, but it's easy for him.
Yeah, it's easy for him.
Skilled trade.
Yeah, I thought about looking at my wife's. My wife does paper crafting, so she has a lot of different things, and one of hers is ink pads. I looked at that and said, I could get one of hers is ink pads. I looked at that and said, I could get one of hers is
got a bit of an echo there, Bernard.
Yeah, hang on. Let me close. There we go. Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Sorry about that. I was watching you and had multiple monitors going.
So tell us about how you do this.
So the IBCs, it looks tricky, but it's actually kind of easy. And I feel your pain because I was trying to figure out, the exact same thing. Like, how in the world, with all of this delicate work, there's no point, printing all the beautiful, delicate pipes if you can't paint them.
Yes.
So here's what worked for me. And it works pretty well. So what I do is I spray the entire thing white. So I just, you can use an airbrush, but I'm too lazy. So I just basically shake up a rattle can and spray it white, flat white, the flattest you can find. And then I get a silver Sharpie, like a fine point silver Sharpie marker. And I literally just draw the Sharpie marker onto the little tubes. So there's no paint involved whatsoever.
I tried that, and then one of the things that I found out was that when I looked at it from the side, I could see all the white.
And that's why I just basically, the ink from the Sharpie just kind of coats it. And I guess sometimes you just go in on, on the side or whatever. But the beauty of the Sharpie is that I found that with the Sharpie, I had so much more control than with the paintbrush. And then it's just a matter of, if you get a little silver Sharpie on the white, then you just go in with a little bit of white. And the beauty of it too is these things are usually outside. So after you spend all this time painting it white and with the silver Sharpie, you're going to weather it anyway. And then the weathering tends to be very forgiving.
That's just the one that I use there.
Yeah. And you can play around with the different, maybe a thicker nib is better, because you basically want the nib of your Sharpie to be slightly wider than the size of the actual piping. Because then the Sharpie kind of wraps around it.
Mm-hmm.
But I had really good luck with the silver Sharpie. And occasionally I'd get a tiny spot of silver, on part of the white. So then I just went in with a little white paint and sort of touched it up.
Neat.
Yeah.
And I have some of that, but I'm not worried about it too much.
Yeah. The other thing to keep in mind is that on the IBCs at the bottom, there's the little spigot. And I think the spigot usually has like a little red dot on it.
Like a red cap?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always like to work from prototypical photos because there's always stuff that I forget.
Now, when we had talked about those, which was the same month that you had put them in the minis of the month, because you had thrown some of those in there.
That's right.
I used to work in a chrome plating factory, and they would get rid of old chromic acid in those, and they would have us fill those up when we empty these big tanks.
Yeah.
Because you have to switch them out. Like, I have no idea. This was like when I was fresh out of high school. So it's really nice to see the containers in such a, because I'm used to seeing the full size ones, and Yeah, that brought me back after seeing these.
Yeah, so those tank containers, those IBCs, they hold all sorts of stuff. They hold pesticides, they hold water. I've seen them on farms for livestock, and I've
Mhm.
seen them in like super industrial settings. So
Yep.
yeah, they're quite flexible with what
And
you
they
can
use
put in
them for like paints and all that kind of stuff. That's what
Yep.
one of the things that I was going to use this for was my striping truck.
Well, the cool thing too is if you've got placards like hazardous material
Yep.
placards, you can stick a little hazardous material placard on the flat front,
Mhm.
just for a little added detail, because then people can look and go, oh yeah, what's in there.
Mhm.
Yep. And since Bernard's here,
Oh, that's beautiful, nicely done.
I didn't get a chance to do the contest, but this is the smaller one.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And then I decided to do turquoise in the bigger one.
Oh, that's
Looks really nice.
gorgeous. That's
And
really
those-
nice. Yeah, I love those colors.
Those
Did you
painted
do
up
the inside?
really nice.
Did you do the
They really-
inside?
I did a little bit of the inside. I haven't finished it yet. I got like the silver in for most of the things. I just painted the inside white for right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
On both of them. I haven't quite figured out what I want to do on the inside. The bad thing is that I was disappointed I can't get in there to paint the bed sheets, the bed back here.
Well, the good news is you can't see the bed. You can see the couch through the windows, but there's no way to see the bed like through the windows.
Yeah, but I don't have a couch. I have to put furniture in here.
No, you've got a couch in the front, the top.
Oh yeah, that one. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, up
So
there.
you can paint that couch, and then you can see that couch through the windows, but you can't you can see it through the front windows there, but you can't see the bed.
Right.
There is, you can sort of get up and under with a paintbrush, but it's a bit of a pain.
Yeah. I do have to repair my pink guy because I broke off the wheel on the front.
No,
Well, Mini Prints does offer the complete satisfaction breakage guarantee. If I break it, I send it to you for free. If you break it, all you have to do is pay postage, and I'm happy to send you another one.
That's okay. I just have to, paint it back on. That one I think is the one that I might put a bunch of bullet holes in anyway.
I'm expecting an NMRA clinic on adding bullet holes to minis.
Now, speaking of mini prints, I'm going to be seeing you next. Is it next week? No, in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yes.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Do you want to talk about that a little bit and what your participation in the event will be?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, the plan right now, and it's dependent on a couple things, but I think everything's good, is I'm bringing a live scanning rig, and I am going to live scan people if they want to be miniaturized. So this is dependent on, I guess, 3 things. The first is I have to do it indoors because you can't scan outside because of the UV. So I need a relatively sort of shady, darkish type corner somewhere. So if Lauren can find, if he can stick me in the washroom or something, I just need a little bit of an out of the way spot. So that's number 1. Number 2, I'm building the rig right now. I've tested everything and it works, but there's one piece I'm waiting for the rig. And I'm sure that'll be fixed in time. And then the third thing is I just need to figure out a cost. So there will be a cost associated with getting miniaturized. And if people don't want to do it like on the 10th, but they just want to see it, they can check it out and then, make an appointment to come down to Miniature Printerland and, we can do it there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So if you have any dress up stuff you want to bring, if you want to bring your hard hat or your overalls, or if you want to get into character or whatever, I'll be, the plan right now is live scanning.
That's very different. And when I caught wind of that, I definitely thought that was an awesome idea, because not only does that offer a chance for somebody to have themselves scanned as a model, and then have that put on their own layout. But that also expands on what you can sell and what you can offer through your store. Things that maybe you might not have thought of. And obviously people need lots of people for like passengers on trains and whatnot. So
yeah.
Well, the other thing too is I'm thinking of a couple of things, and one of the things is if you are a real prototypical railroader. So if you work for a railroad and you come dressed up in all your gear, and I can scan you as a prototypical railroader and agree to make you into a custom cruise mini print, then of course I will scan you and give you your mini print for free.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm looking for models, of people who've got the full gear that I can scan and turn into a custom cruise mini print. And then, then I'm happy to just do it and give you the model. The other thing that I'm working on, which is kind of fun, is I can pretty much scan anybody and then after the fact, make you do whatever. If you want to be breakdancing or playing chess, or I can scan you in a specific position and then come back and animate you in the studio.
Oh,
so if you if you want to get scanned and then come back to me like a month later and say, hey, can you make me driving the car? I'll be able to then basically take the scan and reposition you into pretty much any position.
Split Rock wants to know if you can make them thinner.
Absolutely. That's an optional add-on is full editing. It's taller, thinner, shorter, more muscles. Yeah, there's unlimited Photoshop work I can do in that.
I'm wondering if M&M Rails goes and gets scanned, can you make him be able to do a 4-digit train engine on his DCC system?
Well, I haven't added the optional programming yet, although I'm thinking of a voodoo doll option where the miniature comes with chicken bones. It comes with a spell book, some chicken bones, and some pins that you can insert into your miniature.
Now, Mark is pretty tall though, so would you still put him as an HO scale model? Because I feel like if you made him HO, he would fit perfectly on an S scale layout.
Well, there you go.
I'm not sure how the scaling works there, but and now he just wanted a scan of my beard. I don't know how good that would work on, then you're just.
Well, yeah, this is part of what I'm experimenting with. So I'm definitely in sort of the beta testing phase. Mm-hmm. I did a scan last night using this new rig of just head and shoulders of my wife, and it's the detail is absolutely spectacular. I can share the screen if I can find it. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah.
Okay, so hang on. Let me see if I can just.
First,
I'll open it up. And then if I can get it, I'll share my screen. But I was quite impressed with the quality. It's a lot of trial and error, and it's a lot of fun. But here, let's see what this comes in as. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so hang on. Let me just.
Mark said a bust of Chris. I'm like, yeah, that would be a bust. I was going to ask the same thing, whether or not you could make me smaller, but I said, well, you're not a miracle worker. You're really good, but. Yeah.
All right, here. You want to see the, hang on. I got to get to this one, StreamYard. Should I share?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Pull it
All
up
right.
here.
I'm sharing my screen.
So
let me.
Yeah,
there we go. So that's pretty good resolution there.
Oh,
that's neat.
Yeah. So I mean, I was pretty impressed with, it really is getting good detail.
Now, you also made her an equestrian, right? When you were
I did. And I'm just playing around with a whole bunch of different pieces of technology and
Mhm.
different resolutions. And I mean, when you're going down to 87.1, you don't really need this kind of detail. It's a mix between here. Let me stop sharing.
Yep.
It's a mix between the right amount of detail that you will see at an HO scale and not killing yourself for overkill, and even at O scale. I mean, you want enough detail that you can tell it's the person, but we're not doing aircraft parts here. It doesn't have to be, scientific tolerances.
That's awesome.
Let me tell you, aircraft parts are not scientifically toleranced after we give them to mechanics. Trust me.
Okay, good to know. Very good to know. So yeah, so that's the plan, a little live scanning, and if nothing else, it'll be fun. If anyone wants to order and then have me bring stuff down, I can do that as well to save on delivery and or shipping, etc. But I'm not really going to sort of fill my pockets with product. I don't want people to buy my stuff. I want people to buy stuff from Lauren. So I'm happy to bring down, an order if you order it. But I think it's going to be more sort of show and tell and fun and social than actually selling stuff.
Will you have any new products to show off?
Oh gosh, I have new products every Friday. I mean, I literally have. I mean, I try and list 3 to 4 things a week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always new stuff. I mean, this is one that I just finished, and I'll probably have it up in time. But this is, I don't know if you can see it, rotted out boat.
Nice.
Oh.
Which is kind of fun because what I want to do is I want to do a diorama where I put the boat down, and then there's like static grass, talking about static grass, like coming up, growing up through the rotted out boards. Like, I think that would look really cool. So,
yeah, and your truck and with your truck and cinder blocks, I was going to try to figure out how to make a tree grow through it.
Absolutely, yeah, that would be wicked.
Because there's actually a friend of mine. She used to do photography and stuff like that. She used to do it of older vehicles and all, and that was one of the things that she had. She actually had a tree. She had a picture of a tree had grown right up through where the engine compartment would be.
Yeah, you could also probably, with a pair of tweezers and some of the sulfur tufts or whatever, probably get something coming out one of the windows or the front or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
All right, I should get going. Believe it or not, I am painting up. I'll give you a quick glance, but I don't want you to see who it is. But I'm painting up a set of HO scale miniatures of a major recording artist who the director's doing a video, and they wanted HO scale minis of the artist.
Wow.
So so I mean, fingers crossed, if they like it, hopefully Mini Prince will be in its first music video.
Nice.
So today's goal is to paint them up and get them off to the director tomorrow. So maybe we'll see Mini Prince on MTV.
So not that you have to disclose who it is or anything like that. Did you have to do them? Are you doing them in several poses?
That's right. Yeah. So they were in the studio this week, and we did some live body scans.
Oh, okay.
And then I sent them off to the management company and the director, and they chose 3 poses. And then I printed them out, and now I'm painting them up.
Oh, that's cool.
And the concept, they're going to use it in the video, and going all's well. Hopefully, it'll be the Mini Prince Network debut in a rock video. So that'll be fun. Yeah, it's a fun little challenge. It's really fun to work on something because it's pure creative. It's it's just it's very different than designing and printing out like a pylon or an IBC.
It's all good. No, it's awesome. That's another level for the hobby, right? So that's cool.
Yeah, mini me by Mini Prince. I can. What did a friend of mine, Spencer, came up with a good tagline. Hang on. He said, let me see, I wrote it down. I thought it was pretty funny. Here we go. What did he say? He said, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. Oh, yeah. Making toys out of friends.
That's funny.
That's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. Yeah. So We can all play on our layouts. It's like, hey, I'm Chris. You know. It's
Well,
like,
I mean,
hey, want to go rail fanning?
Yeah.
Sure, let's go rail fanning. You know?
yeah, that's definitely a good option because I'd love to have like a hobby start, like a little shop on the layout, and then a bunch of us just hanging out outside. Or
Yeah.
you put it inside, and when you look in, we're all shopping for stuff.
Well,
So
I haven't told Lauren this yet, but I want to scan Lauren.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be neat. Oh
Yeah, yeah. We'll have him. We'll do a printout, and we'll have him standing at the cache at Otter Valley or something.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's 2:30. I know you gotta
Okay.
go.
I gotta fly. I'm taking the kids downtown to go shopping for, believe it or not, model parts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll call it, and I'll see
Yep.
you in a couple of weeks there down at OVR. And
Yeah, looking forward to it.
yeah, we'll hang out. We'll make a day of it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All
thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no
And
worries.
that's looking really good. Try the silver Sharpie and let me know how it works for you.
Yep, I will. Right now I'm trying
All
an
right.
orange Sharpie on your cones. So
Oh yeah, that's weathering with Sharpies or painting with Sharpies. They also make like liquid gel and more paint more paint style Sharpies. So yeah, I love Sharpies.
yeah. Well, I'm also finding that there's some acrylic pens out there now.
Yep.
And I want to start using some of those.
It's the golden age of weathering.
Yep.
Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Thanks, Bernard.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Yep. Thanks, Chris, for having me on too. I'll go
Have a
ahead
great
and let.
weekend.
Yeah.
Have a good one, guys.
Okay. See ya.
Bye.
Big thanks to Bernard and Steve87 for coming up and chatting with me. And I want to thank everybody in the chat for showing up, coming and hanging out. I've got a whole bunch of weathered cars now behind me. Getting through them. I'm getting through them. One Sunday at a time, I guess. I still got a few more to go, and then I've got a whole wall of barrel ore cars that have been screaming for dirt and grime for a couple of months now. So very excited. So we'll see you on Wednesday right back here, and I'll be running some trains live. Maybe we'll run the ones that I've weathered. We'll see how they look going around, and you can let me know. Let me know what you think. But until then, I'm Go Veer, go home. Don't forget, September 10th, we'll be at OVR Trains in Tilsonburg. Come hang out. Get 3D scanned by Mr. Bernard, Mr. Mini Prince himself, and you can have a mini you or a mini me on your layout or a mini M&M. Whoever shows up, you can get scanned, and yeah, that'd be awesome. Fill out those layouts. Get your fellow streamers on your layouts. Bring them to life. That would be awesome. Until then, have yourselves a great week, everybody, and we'll be back here on Wednesday. See you then.